What's up, everyone? First of all, congratulations on completing your first Tony Robbins event. Whether that's UPW, whether that's Date with Destiny, whether that's RPM, whatever program that you've just completed, I'm here to say congratulations to you. And I mean that. A lot of people say that. I mean it because I know what it's like to dedicate the time, the energy, the money, the resources, and most importantly, your focus and your heart and your mind when so many things about life are pulling at you. And I'm here to, number one, out the gate, and not just a typical intro, but to say congratulations on completing your first or 10th or 20th Tony Robbins event. Really, I mean that. I know what it's like. I've been to so many of them. For those of you that know me, you know who I am. If you don't know me, this is the first time seeing me. My name is Wesley Gu. And I just thought I'd come on here. I did a video. Some of you might know me from there. I did a video maybe something like 15, 20 years ago. I used to work for the Tony Robbins organization. In fact, let me just show you this. I just put together this little slideshow. And I'm not really a PowerPoint guy. I just started learning it. I know I'm totally late. I'm normally speaking just in front of a room without a PowerPoint. So forgive me if I don't know how to do this exactly. I'm learning. I'm kind of the old school thing here. So, okay, share my screen. Here we go. So I don't even know how to put it on full mode yet, but I'll learn it. I promise. Did this presentation. It's only a few slides, but I did this a few minutes ago, and I'm just learning it. So forgive me. It's kind of sloppy put together, but I wanted to. I was going to come on here and just talk to you since you're just getting back from your Tony Robbins event and give you a few tips for staying in the momentum. Like I said, I started my career with Tony Robbins years ago. That's me talking to Tony backstage at one of my last events, which was probably, I don't know, somewhere in the neighborhood of 2008 or 9, somewhere around there, maybe 2010. The bottom picture is me on stage with Tony and the team. We used to have the dancers on stage when we were getting ready to start UPW. And of course, that's Tony on the left. And I did that for a while. And so after my time with Tony, I decided it was time to move on. I asked myself, what's next? And what I was thinking was I didn't know what to do. I started coaching people, and inadvertently, I ended up for the last 20 years being an entrepreneur. I'm a speaker. I do keynotes. I'm a corporate trainer. I train speakers on influence. I'm an executive coach. I help people. I basically get my hands dirty with anything that involves helping people transition from one phase of life, one job, one place to another. And that's kind of my thing that I've been passionate about for 20 years. So I've been doing that forever. Like I said, I just put this together. Sorry, grab the first pictures I've seen, but here's me speaking. But after that, after I went to my first Tony Robbins event and I started working for him, I asked myself, what's next? I was so excited when I left UPW. I was on cloud 9. And if you just left UPW, which just happened this weekend, you know what I'm talking about. You are ready to take on the world. You feel great about it. And congratulations. That's a real honest to God feeling. But I noticed something strange. After the first few weeks, when I got a little flack from people and I kind of was by myself back in my life, family, friends, I started to feel like, okay, that was a great event. I knew it, but I didn't feel the same as when I was in the venue, jumping up and down, celebrating with everybody, excited to go and do a million things. A few months after that, I was like, oh, wow, I just wasn't feeling it. And so later on, I went to work for Tony Robbins, and I ended up being a speaker. Many of you know me from my time with Tony, traveling the country, speaking, training, helping people. And what I started to do, this is all pre-internet. This is how old I am. All pre-internet, I used to send out to all the people that I invited to come to UPW, and they all went, hundreds of people. I made this document. It was like Word Perfect. Remember Word Perfect? I made this document, and it said, here are 6 keys or 7 keys or 10 keys on how to stay in the momentum, or how to overcome what I called it was overcoming post-UPW depression. It was a way for people to stay. And the way that I found after being out of that environment for a while, I started to play with different ways to stay in it, to get that feeling back and to feel that. And I ended up finding things that worked for me to keep me in momentum. So I wrote it out on a Word Perfect document. I sent it to people and they found it so helpful. Then a year or two after that, I thought, well, I should record it on a video. We didn't have phone cameras then. So I got a video camera and I had my nephew film me. And a lot of you have added me on social media or seen me from that video, which was like 20 years ago. And I'm 50 pounds thinner and I'm, just a little boy. But it was called, and you can see it on YouTube. It's called Overcoming Post-UPW Depression. And you put in my name, Wesley Goo, it pops up. But I filmed that, like different ways to stay in momentum. I was so excited to help people. And thousands of people saw that video. This is when YouTube first came out. And a lot of people found me through that. And I used to, well, I'll tell you that later. But anyway, that's how this whole thing started. I think that was the kind of cover of that video on YouTube. But the main problem I was attempting to address was that the slow fade. When you walk on coals, you're excited, but then instead of you walking on coals, walking on fire in your life, the weeks, the months that follow, the fire kind of walks all over you. It kind of like takes advantage of you, and then you start to lose the momentum. You lose the motivation. That fire is not the same thing. And so half of my time with Tony Robbins was spent inspiring people and helping people get to an event, help them transform their lives. But then another part of it I found was keeping people in that state. Because as you know, when you're in that state, it's one thing. But then when you leave it, I saw this. And to this day, 20 years later, over 20 years later, I see people that went through that and were so excited and they've completely lost it. It's gone. And it's really sad to me to see. And, there'll be hints of it and a little bit of like well, I go to the gym when I can, or I know I should be positive, but they've lost the momentum. And I do not tolerate that happening to you. I refuse to allow that. I hope you refuse to allow that too. So what I'm going to do for you now is sort of an updated version. Again, this is not something professionally done. This is just me decided today to come on here and put this together. I woke up early and was excited, like, oh, I should do this and talk to people who are just getting back from UPW, and really for any Tony event to what to do next post UPW when the fire fades. 7 keys to reignite your state and live in that momentum. Now, again, I used to call this overcoming post-UPW depression. People got on my case like, oh, it's not depression. You don't get depressed and all that. You know what I mean? When the feeling fades is the worst, because then you're back in just life. And one of the things that Tony has said that has always stayed with me is that when you go to the event, people say, oh, you're going to go get motivated and it's Tony's hypnotizing people and all that stuff. And one of the brilliant things Tony says, and I've lived it for 20 years, so I know it's absolutely true, is that he says, what's the real hypnosis? I'm paraphrasing. What's the real hypnosis? Is it your friends or maybe your family or maybe the people close to you that are like, hey, just chill out and be cool and just, life isn't bad and just kind of accept where you're at and deal with it? Or is it hypnosis to say, listen, you could be doing so much more. You could be being so much more in the world. You can become the person you've wanted to be, do great things. If you do the right things, if you have the right technology, if you take the right steps, you believe that you can do that. Anything is possible for you. What's the real hypnosis? Like you could live a great life, or no, that's all just motivation and rah, and you should just stay where you. What's the real hypnosis? And I am here to assert that it's my contention that the real hypnosis is what the world offers you, which is to telling you just be a good lemming and do what everybody else does and shut up and do your job and get married and shut up and have kids and come home and that's your life. Just accept that. But I'm here to assert that while those things are all great, there's more to life than that. And I have been thankfully living proof that you can have more. I never thought my life would be here. I'm already over my time, but I'm going to give you 7 keys to reignite that state, to stay in that state of momentum. And I've used all these and I've tested them with other people for 20 years and it works. Number 1, play the music. As you can tell by looking at my wall, I love music. I'm a musician, songwriter, and I'm a big believer in music. When I went to the event, my first UPW, I was shocked at how much of the event was music. I was expecting, oh, we're going to go hear Tony Robbins speak, take some notes, just sit down. As you know, it's not that way. It is not an informational event. It is an experience, which is a mix of information, but it has so much more. The music, to me as a musician, was 50% of my experience. I give Tony credit for the 50%, and then the music 50%. Shout out to Dave George, who at the beginning, when I first started going, was the guy. And I remember going up to the sound booth, trying to find out who was the wizard behind the curtain, who was playing the music that just changed my life. And to this day, those songs, I know the music has changed in 20 years, but to me, those songs still stay with me. And there's a certain list that I have that I play, and I still anchors those feelings I had at that UPW within me. Remember, and I just have it there, I just copied from the document I had sent out. I hear, and this is my bit of advice to you, create a UPW playlist or a Date with Destiny playlist or a Tony Robbins playlist of the songs that spoke to you, the ones you remember. You can find them online. When I first wrote this, there wasn't really an online community. I was gone onto the message boards and I used to post the music list. In fact, I used to offer people CDs. I would make CDs, burn CDs of Tony Robbins songs at the event, and I would give them to people, just give them out to people to stay in it. That's how excited I was. And you might have a copy of those CDs somewhere that I gave. And pretty soon there was more than one. There was 2, volume 2, volume 3. And I had like up to, I think, volume 5 or 6 of the UPW music, because I would play it every day and it would keep me in state. So number 1, play the music, get in state the same way. I think Tony, at least back in the day, it's been a while since I've been to a UPW, so I don't know if it ends with Life Will Never Be the Same Again, but that was a pivotal song that we used at the event that stayed with me. My personal favorite, I don't even know if they play this song anymore, and it still gets me. I was listening to it yesterday, and it still gets me. It's Rod Stewart's Forever Young. And that line when he says, when you fly away, I'll be hoping that I served you well. And I just thought, Tony, I love you. So I'm just so grateful for that music. And number 2, so music is big. So number 2, surround yourself with empowering people. Listen, you're not in the arena anymore. You're not surrounded by thousands of people. And I'm not saying to dump your friends. Your friends are your friends. Your family's your family. Tony says the best, love your family, choose your peers. Maybe it's time to do a little house cleaning. Whatever it takes, add to your peer list. Love your family, choose your peers. If I coach some person, different people, and they don't have an empowering peer group. They have drinking buddies and they have people that they can gossip with, but there's not an empowering peer group. And I'm not saying you've got to take people that aren't like you and got to make them your best friend. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is surround yourself with people who can pull you up, people who are living a life that's inspired, that they are doing things not just for themselves, but for the world. Yes, you can keep your friends. Yes, you can keep your drinking buddies. Do whatever you want. What I'm saying is add to that group empowering friends, and you'll find that the people you have less in common with at this stage will start to weed themselves out. I won't say anything about significant others and those relationships. You do what you want with those relationships, but make sure they're empowering relationships. Make sure that they're the kinds of relationships you would want your kids to have with people. So number 3, hire Tony as your coach. Well, sort of. Not everyone has it used to be like $1 million to hire Tony as a year as a personal coach. And I don't even know how much time you actually got with him if you paid that amount of money. I think only really celebrities used to do that. But the next best thing is to have Tony in your living room, right? To play his audio programs. I used to play his CDs or cassette tapes. Tony's, you have access to the internet, which I'm sure you do, or you wouldn't be seeing this. Tony's voice is all over. get his voice as now an anchor in your system. Play it and listen to these programs that I listened to when I started. Personal Power, Time of Your Life, Unleash the Power Within. These were gold. I'm sure Tony's got 1,000 programs now that are newer, are more fresh. And if money's tight, you can listen online for free to different Tony programs that he's doing. You don't need to always buy the CD set, right? You can listen to them. You can subscribe. I'm sure Tony has some sort of subscription service. Subscribe to those. By the way, I don't get anything for this. I'm not being paid by the Robbins organization. I really don't have anything to do with the Tony Robbins organization anymore since I left it 15 years ago, 10 years ago, 2008, 9, somewhere around there. 25, 15, yeah, geez, more than I think. I have not been paid, or I just do it because I'm so grateful for what Tony gave me. Tony will always be my father in the faith, in this faith here, in personal development. He is like I love him so much. So I don't get anything for this. So do pay the money, subscribe, do whatever it takes, and don't let the boys, oh, you don't have enough money, you need to say that. No, screw that. It's not about your resources, as Tony says. It's about your resourcefulness. Get resourceful. Do not accept no for an answer from you. You learn that at UPW. Make sure you implement it. Okay, number 4. This is something nobody ever told me, but I did it this way and it helped me. It accelerated my path in this industry. Learn it well enough to teach it. Okay, it's one thing to hear it, but if I say, okay, give me the 6 human needs right now. Give me Tony's triad of success right now. Give to me, I don't know if he still does spiral dynamics. Give to me the level of spiral dynamics. Whatever it is that Tony taught, learn it. Talk to me about limiting beliefs. Talk to me about empowering beliefs. Talk to me about values and rules. Talk to me about your mission. Talk to me about your story. If you don't know it well enough to teach it to me, you don't know it well enough. You might have heard it and it might have made sense. But what I used to do was after my first UPW, I took my UPW manual, which I still have, and I would take it to a Starbucks. I'd get a cup of coffee and I'd recopy the notes on my laptop or on a paper just so I could remember it. And I think the first thing I ever taught anybody was a barista in a coffee shop was the triad of success, physiology, focus, and language. And they were like, what is that? And they would write it down, like physiology. They didn't even put it in their phone because we didn't have cell phones. They would write it down, physiology, focus, and language. And so I taught that. And then I taught the 6 human needs. Those were all just the basics of learning the stuff. And if you can't do that, then you might not know it well enough. So set aside some time each week to review your notes, to go over them as if you are going to teach it to somebody. When you teach it, man, it will solidify itself in your system. Not to be preachy. You don't want to go out and try to convert people like some program where you're trying to convert people. You don't want to sell them into that. You just want to do it for you. Hey, can I go over this with you? Can I explain a concept? Not that I'm trying to get you to do anything, just for me to help verbalize it, speak it out loud, so I internalize it better. And most of the time they'll be like, yeah, that's totally cool. Okay, so here, day 1, Tony talks about this. He talks about this. Let me go over this in the book. Okay, the triad of success, physiology, focus, and language, right? Your state determines how you feel every single day, and how you feel determines the actions you take, and the actions you take determine the results you get, and then that becomes your story and all of that. You can rehearse it with the person and just repeat it so that you internalize it. Okay, that's number 4. Number 5, manage your state daily. We talked about music and how music is an anchor already in you, but this is key. Sometimes music is not around, but you want to learn to manage your state. All of the day 1 with Tony Robbins, it used to be Friday, now it's Thursday, I think. All of day 1 is about state management. Tony is preparing you to manage your state, and people will think, oh, that's rah-rah, jumping up and down, all that sort of stuff, the fire walk. By the way, congratulations, fire walkers. I think I've done it like 15, 16 times, depending on how many events I had gone to. But congratulations. That is all about state management. I remember when I was doing real estate for a short time and I was talking to people and I would be feeling like, oh, I need to get in state because I'm going to meet with a client. I would, I didn't always make my move because I didn't have time because people were there in the office and I would like squeeze my hand. I created a trigger like, I would just tighten up because I thought I'm going to manage my state. I'm going to make my move. Yes, I'm going to do that kind of thing. Tony 101, right? Emotion is created by motion. So when you fire off those anchors that you said, or you get in state, it's a powerful tool to use. So much of the people I coach struggle because they have fatigue, they feel lazy, they lack clarity. But if you monitor their state is terrible. They're slumped over, they have no energy. I would never want to do business with them based on their energy alone. And I don't mean yelling, I don't mean jumping up and down. I just mean the energy. You can feel when someone has a level of energy. And I don't mean polished. I know many polished speakers, right? They speak, the words are perfect, everything is perfect, but you don't feel the energy, the heat radiating off them. And you want to create that state daily for you. Don't let that slip. In fact, I think it's one of the things that goes first, because people don't do the getting in state, jumping up and down, hands over the head. They're not engaging their physiology. Yeah, they may go to the gym, which is great. They lift, but it's not a sort of like you did at the event. Jump up and down, do the movements you did at the event. Get your body reactive to that. Play the music, drink the water. Even if it's 5 minutes a day, whatever it is, stay in a state. You want to keep that. People will make the mistake of, well, we're not at the event, so I don't jump up and down anymore. I just remember the content. And this happens, the fire fades. So you don't want to do that. Stay in state. Manage your state daily. Number 6, live with a grateful heart. We hear it all the time. Oh, you got to be thankful and you got to be grateful. And, I'm guilty of that. I've heard that my whole life. I grew up in church, ministry, gratitude, thankfulness. It's a key pillar. But you can think it and you can know you need to be grateful and not feel it kinesthetically in your body. And I remember my good friend Bob one time had me do an exercise where he had me write 100 things I was thankful for, 100 things I was grateful for. And I remember the first 10 were easy, right? Family, opportunities, money, time, whatever I had going for me at the time. But then after 15 or 20, you're like, well, then you're like, the moon, the grass, I'm glad where I live, I have a nice place. The people I've met, okay, Tony Robbins, I'm grateful for Tony. And it's a stretch, but it forces you to reach back into the reservoir of your experience and your life to find things to be thankful for. The opposite of gratitude is entitlement. I deserve this. Why don't I have this by now? I've put the work in. I know this stuff already. And I see it every day. Some with people I coach, some just in life. People are entitled. It's the opposite of having a grateful heart. Oh, no, I know I'm grateful. I know I need to be grateful. I'm grateful. But you can tell by the way someone speaks whether they truly are thankful. They truly are grateful for what they have, that they're shocked by the fact that they have so much when so many others out there have so little, not just in other countries where there's poverty and war and famine, but here in this own country when people struggling with mental health or any of the issues that people struggle with. Gratitude is key. If you do that every day, Tony used to have a saying, attitude of gratitude, right? Hour of power. You'd focus on these kinds of things to be grateful. And if some of those things are cliche to you, then, rephrase them in a way that works for you. The key is to keep the content. Finally, this is the 7th key, join mastery. I don't know any other way to say that. What mastery gives you is, Tony's whole model is based on what I'd say are 3 things, right? Total immersion, daily integration, and spaced repetition. That's total immersion, UPW, Date with Destiny, right? You are immersed for a weekend, a week, fully thrown into the pool, right? Total immersion. You launch on that. Then number 2 is daily integration. If you don't integrate daily, you will struggle your whole life. Oh, I will do it again when I listen to Tony next week or when I have more time. Daily, make it a daily habit to do it at some point. Again, even if it's 5 minutes, do something to train, because I'm not saying that the 5 minutes of content is going to help you. What I'm saying is you're training your body to say, I'm doing these 5 minutes consistently. And the consistency of it will start to change you. Not even the content. If you don't remember the content the next day, fine. But at least you put the 5 minutes in. Same with working out. Whatever it is, train your body in consistency of momentum. So daily integration, total immersion, daily integration. And the last one is spaced repetition, meaning that you put yourself back in the environment every so often, right? Once a week, once a month, once a year, whatever it is, you are in the community. And the bbest way I know about that is Mastery. I enrolled in Mastery. It's funny because I didn't enroll when I was at the event. And I was too afraid. I was thousands of dollars in debt. And I did have a credit card, but I didn't want to put it on a credit card because I was already in debt. I think it was like 30, 40,000 in debt. It was terrible. But I knew Tony's work was the only light I saw at the end of the tunnel. And then I had a sales rep call me, shout out to Craig, who called me up. And Craig had asked me 3 questions. He said, Wesley, on a scale of 1 to 10, how important is it for you to get the goals you wrote down at UPW? And I said, very important, like 9, 10. Okay, great. Do you think Tony can help you with that? Yes, absolutely. Okay, what's your credit card number? Okay, no, Craig, thanks. I appreciate that. I can't really do that. I'm in debt. I need to get that taken care of first. Wesley, seriously, on a scale of 1 to 10, how important is it that you get those things you wrote down, the life that you want, the dreams that you have, the lifestyle you want for you and your family? How important is that? It's a 10, Craig. It's a 15. Okay. Do you honestly think Tony Robbins can help you with that? Yes, I do. There's no question in my mind. Great. What's your credit card number? And I was like, Craig, I can't. And then after doing that same set of 3 questions, I ended up saying, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to do it. And I gave him my credit card and I went and my life took off. Now, it hasn't been always up. It's been kind of like this, but it's been a trajectory upward. And I'm here today and I have a successful business and I travel all over the world and I speak all over this country. And I had amazing connections with CEOs to celebrities. I've coached celebrities, Fortune 500. And it's not because I'm so great. It's because the technology is powerful. And if you embody it, then people want you around. I don't seek out celebrities. They seek me out because they hear about it. And it's not because they're so great. It's everybody is looking for answers. They want solutions to their problems. And if they sense that from you, that you are a resource, they cling to you. I don't care if it's a celebrity, A-lister, or it is somebody that's on drugs or somebody that's struggling. Doesn't matter. What matters is you give off this energy that when you walk into a place, the room changes. That's the kind of energy. And Mastery gave that to me. So that's the kind of influence you want. If you want to be able to walk into a place and have the room shift to come to you or to talk or to just recognize you or wonder what it's about and want to be able to help people, not for ego and not for fame or not for that, but to help people, to have a superpower to help people, then that's the way to do it. For me, it was Mastery. Those programs, I don't even know kind of how they're actually shaped now. I know it was used to be Date with Destiny, Life Mastery, Wealth Mastery. I think now they've added leadership and there's a business mastery. It's all kinds. And if you need help getting information, hit me up. I'll send you, I'll refer you to people I trust in the company that can guide you, give you information, and help you out with that. So here's the summary. Play the music. It's an anchor in you. Surround yourself with empowering people. Love your family. Choose your peers. Don't just have your buddies or your girlfriends so that your drinking buddies, your gossip girlfriends. Have people that are empowering, not just, unicorns, puppies, and rainbows and overly positive, Polly Positive or Debbie Downer or whatever. You want them just solid people that can give you perspective without being attached and can help you, give you a third-party perspective about things and support you and empower you and love you. Number 3, hire Tony as your coach. Well, hire a coach. Hire somebody. I don't even know if I finished that one. If you can't afford Tony, listen to the programs, hire a coach. Get a coach working with you, somebody to support you, somebody you can check in with, someone to be your friend. Listen, coaching has developed so much. It doesn't have to look like, well, I've got to get a coach and he has to do this or she has to do that. Coaching can look like whatever you want it to look like, whatever helps you. I find that some of my coaching clients want me to teach them things about life, living, principles, speaking, whatever. And those people I do that with. Then there are people that just don't have any friends and don't have any peers. And so they hire me, in a sense, to be a peer in their circle. We talk every day, we text, I give them perspective when they have questions. There's that kind of person. And then there's people that, hey, listen, I'm a self-starter, I'm a self-motivator. I just need to check in with somebody once a week to tell them what I'm doing, so I know I'm being held accountable. And I have people like that too. So coaching doesn't have to look like whatever you think it looks like. It can be whatever helps you. And my one hint for you is to find a coach that, number one, recognizes that, and number two, is open to being that kind of coach for you. And they just say, oh yeah, this is what we're going to do, and this is what I'm going to tell you to do. They have their own agenda. Find someone that understands you specifically and what your unique needs are, what your unique situation is, the unique challenges you have, and then can tailor something to you to help you process that, move through it, navigate through it, grow. Number 4, learn it well enough to teach it. Remember, unless you're teaching it, unless you know, if I call on you and I say, tell me the 6 human needs, tell me the triad of success, tell me the values, or tell me your limiting beliefs versus your empowering beliefs, whatever it is, learn it well enough to teach it. Number 5, manage your state. So important. If you do not have a powerful state every day, jump out of bed in the morning, don't have the conversation, make your move, fire off the anchors that are on you, make your power move, go to the gym, run, jump up and down, do some jumping jacks, whatever it is, manage your state. Number 6, live with a grateful heart. Take a moment and be thankful for what you have when so many don't have it. There are people dying who would give anything to have the problems you have. There are people somewhere, and let's not forget that. Let's remember that. The opposite of that gratitude is entitlement. And nobody wants to be around someone who feels entitled. I'm not entitled to anything. I'm thankful for everything I have. And finally, if you can, join mastery. Find a way where there is no way. Remember Tony's decide, commit, resolve. You don't work to resolve it. I got to figure out how to do it. No, you decide first. Cut off all other thoughts about it. I'm going to do it. Decide. Then you commit. Commitment is the external sign of the internal decision. So commitment, it's like if you decide to get married, you don't just say, I love you, we're going to get married. You give a ring, right? The ring's the commitment. It's the sign of the internal decision. If people are hesitant to commit, then they haven't decided yet. I'd never have to say, if you commit to me to spend this $1 million I give you, you never need to do that. You wouldn't do it because you've already decided you would like that $1 million that I would hand to you. So people only hesitate on committing if they haven't fully decided. Decide, then do a sign of commitment. Call the person that brought you into UPW. Call the person, get a hold of me, whoever, and say, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do it. What do I need to do I may not be able to pay for the whole thing in full at this moment. If you can, great, do it. But I want to do it. Tell me something I can do right now to put it in action so it's done. Tony says, never leave the side of setting a goal without doing something in that moment to get it done. So make sure you do that and join mastery. I love the saying, Tony, it's in the song, life will never be the same again. Sometimes it's not totally accurate, that phrase, because life does go back to being the same for people, but it doesn't have to be that way. Life doesn't have to be the same again. It can be completely different. And I'm living proof of that. And be strong, be courageous. The road ahead can be beautiful. The event is just the beginning. And we all walk it together. We're all on the same path. I'm no different than you. Tony's no different than me. We are all on the same path. And remember, above all, as Tony says, to live with passion. And that's it. That's the 7 keys to reignite your state. Live in that momentum. Congratulations once again for those of you that did it. Look forward to meeting you in person one day if we've not met. If there's any way I can support you, send me a DM, send me a message, and we'll see what we can do. But congratulations again I should have had some music cued to say, life will never be the same again, or my favorite, Forever Young by Rod Stewart. But I love you guys. And if there's anything I do to support you, you let me know, and look forward to seeing you sometime soon. All right. Take care, everyone. All right. Bye-bye.